Hello, and welcome to the Alopecia Advocate podcast, where we open up real conversations about hair loss, healing, and hope. I'm your host, Stephanie Anderson, the Alopecia Advocate. This is a space for education, empowerment, and breaking the stigma around alopecia, appearance related, self-confidence issues, and together we'll explore stories, science, and strategies that will help us all see beauty, strength, and confidence in a new light. Our special guest today is Jeff Woytovich.
Woytovich.
Woytovich, okay. I'm from Oklahoma. I'll mess it up. Woytovich.
Yeah.
We're going to dive into his journey, his insights, and what drives his work to support and inspire others. But first, let me tell you a little bit about today's guest. Jeff is the founder, the president, and CEO of Children's Alopecia Project, better known as CAP. This incredible nonprofit is dedicated to building children living with alopecia, their self esteem, providing support, and raising awareness. Under Jeff's leadership, CAP has grown into a global movement, offering hope and community to countless families around the world. Jeff's passion for his work is deeply personal. Jeff founded the Children's Alopecia Project when Madison, or Maddie, his second oldest daughter, lost her hair to alopecia universalis. Beyond his advocacy, Jeff is a proud Marine Corps veteran. Thank you, sir, for your service. A husband to Betsy since 1994, and the father to four daughters and one son in law. Before starting CAP, he worked in the senior health care field as an assistant living and personal care home administrator. Please join me in welcoming Jeff to the show. Good morning, Jeff, and thank you for coming here and helping me on this episode of the Alopecia Advocate.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. So you know so much about this space when it comes to advocacy and bringing more awareness to alopecia that I want to use this time very responsibly. Kind of talk about what you feel the need for alopecia, and maybe talk about the journey your daughter Maddie went through and why you started CAP.
Well, it's just simple. The only thing that mattered to me was how she felt about herself. I mean, that's all four of my daughters. I always wanted them to feel as confident as they can be. And when one of them starts going through a transformation where they're going to look different, we just didn't know to what extent she was going to look different. I just wanted to make sure that she was prepared to to meet all of those challenges head on. And the only way that we could do that was to go meet other families that had a child with alopecia. So we started a support group. We had kids and their families from outside of Philadelphia meet with us, and then eventually we had people from Maryland and people from New Jersey, and we started getting all this buzz, and it's like, wait a minute, you know, it's not just about the cures, it's not about the treatments, it's not about the makeup or the wigs or the hats or the cover-ups. It really is just about the kid. We wanted the kid to be good, and we wanted them to feel free to do anything that they wanted. If they wanted to wear a wig, if they wanted to wear a hat, no problem. We just wanted them to want to wear a hat or want to wear a wig. We didn't want them to feel like they have to because they're enough. And when you concentrate on just 6, 7% of what makes you you, then you're forgetting about the rest of you. And we wanted to make sure that the kids knew that, yeah, you have this negative thing and your hair is falling out, but you still have the rest of you, and the rest of you is still worth it. And it's still like 94% of who you are, you're not paying attention to because you're only paying attention to that 6 or 7% that you're concentrating on. And we wanted the kids to know that they were perfect exactly the way they were. And if they wanted to change something and they can do it, do it. And if you can't, that's where you have to own it and just realize this is who I am and I'm enough and that's okay.
I love that. And I really like the way you put a percentage perspective to it. And it's true that if you're dealing with something that's only 6%, almost like a minuscule amount, but you put so much weight on it, then
Right.
we want to make sure that you understand that you are enough because you have this other huge percentage, we'll say 94%, that really encompasses more so who you are, what your capabilities are, and your potential, and just to be happy.
Right.
So, how old was Madison when she was first diagnosed with alopecia?
She just started kindergarten. She was 5.
Mhm.
And at 5 years old, you're not really thinking so much about social structures and how I'm going to fit in this world because she just started school. My wife Betsy and I, we're the ones that were worrying because all I could think about was she just started kindergarten. She likes her friends. Her friends like her. She likes school. And now what's going to happen is she's going to be made fun of every single year from kindergarten all the way to college. And I I was just I wouldn't say heartbroken, but I knew I was going to be heartbroken because you have this fantastic kid who's going to start going through this transformation and she was going to be treated differently. And it angered me, but it also motivated me to make sure that that didn't happen. And as a result, it helped my 3 other daughters because they got to see what differences are in somebody's life, but then they also got exposed to all these other families all over the country, and they're going through the same things, and some to a worse degree and some to a better degree. And it's when you know where you stand, it is easier to make improvements. And if you're at the bottom, then you can only go up. And if you're at the top, then you can mentor other families to help them going through what they're going through. At no point since 2003 have I been even close to being perfect or close to the man that I wanted to be. I've done very shallow things. I've done petty things, but I've also accomplished great things, and I keep on trying to do great things so I can forget all about all that pettiness that I went through because it's amazing. Um, like when you look at what alopecia really is, and if you had a bucket of diseases, like all the diseases in the world, it is 100% vitiligo, which is the pigment
The loss of
disease,
pigment,
but
pigmentation.
vitiligo and alopecia are the two physically easiest diseases on earth to have.
Yeah.
It's not contagious. It doesn't hurt. There's no true medicine that treats it. Um, there's good stuff coming out, but the reality is that physically it's easy. And I'm so happy that I don't want to say it like it sounds weird when you say I'm so happy that we were blessed to have alopecia because I would prefer not having it.
Yes,
I
of
would
course.
prefer alopecia not to be in this world. But if we were going to have something, I'm happy it was alopecia because it
And
just came at the right time and we did the right things and things have just been good. And I think my goal is just to continue doing that good and just making sure that families know that they have someplace to go if they need it.
yeah. And I really appreciate and I respect your assessment. Um, that I've heard people say too, and as a trichologist and what I do, the people like, I'm glad I got alopecia
Yeah,
because that was the symptom that allowed them to know that there was something going on. Some of them have, autoimmune. There's different types of alopecia we
right.
know. So some of them, because of that symptom of losing their hair, they were able to realize there was something else deeper going on. And I think about your babies, and I'm so glad to have you on because you're the founder of CAP, but you had this experience with your child, and we are protective. I'm a mama bear, and my kids are, I'm an empty nester, but I remember those days of protection. And so you want to do that. Let me ask, Jeff, was it because we have unconditional love for those that we love, but when we know that there's something that makes them different and we send them out into the world, was it your perceived notion that she would be treated different even in that tender age of 5? How did her classmates respond to her? Was there any difference, or what was her experience at that age?
Well, I'm not really sure what happened first. It's like the chicken and the egg. I don't know what was the first thing, but I do know that we made the decision that we're just going to shove it down everyone's throat. If somebody asked a question, we we were going to answer it, but we were going to give a commercial. We were going to let them know exactly what alopecia was.
Educating.
And more importantly, we were going to let them know what it wasn't,
Yeah.
because obviously most of the people that would ask questions would automatically go to cancer.
Mhm.
And I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that it was not cancer. Cancer is the devil.
Yeah.
And alopecia, not a very nice guy, but definitely not the devil. And I wanted to make sure that everyone knew that she was okay. But of course, she's going through this challenge, and I wanted to put it into perspective. Um, and I think what ended up happening is my kids, we sent them to a small Catholic school. And it was amazing when she decided that she wanted to stop wearing her hat. She asked me to speak to the kindergarten class. And this was the first time, and I speak at 100 schools a year. So now it's just it's a walk in the park for me telling my story. But back then, the story just started. So I had no idea how to talk to 5 and 6 year olds. So I just use an analogy that your body thinks that your hair is a boo-boo.
Mhm.
And then I was talking about white blood cells, and the scab goes over the boo-boo, and it's there to protect the boo-boo. And your body is trying to protect the body by getting rid of the hair. And after I did that, the kids were so interested in showing me their boo-boos that they forgot totally about that Maddie wanted to show her head off and not wear a hat. So when it came to that point, the kids stared at her,
Uh-huh.
and then they just looked back at me and they wanted to show me their boo-boos. They weren't concerned
Yes.
with her head. And I was just thinking to myself, I think that's a really good sign,
Yes.
because I, I could remember being a kid. If there was a bald kid in our class, I think I would have been staring at that kid a little bit longer than what these kids were doing.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is that these kids took Maddie under their wing. I mean, little kindergarten kids. They took ownership in who Maddie was. They were her classmate. So when other kids in other classes, because it was from kindergarten to eighth grade, if a third grader or a fifth grader asked one of the kids, like, "What's going on with her?"
Mhm.
They would be like, "Oh, she has alopecia. That's Maddie. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine." Well, that happened not just in kindergarten, but that happened when she was in first grade, and telling the new kindergartners, and then all the way into high school. All the kids had her back. It was like, she's one of us. You can't mess with her because she's our friend. And there's nothing wrong with her. She's just losing her hair. So she was never teased or made fun of or left out of anything in the entirety of her school history, because from kindergarten to 12th grade, it was really all about the other kids being superheroes and having her back. And when I speak at schools, I want all the schools to know that you all can do this too. And it doesn't matter if you're black or white, or if you're tall or short or big or skinny. You should have everyone's back because they're your people. I don't care who they are, they're your people. And if you're going to let somebody make fun of them, it's a reflection on you. So it just worked, knock on wood. And I think that helped us um, form CAP in a more responsible way, not just out of the emotions of a parent, but like, okay, this is what we have to do to help these kids. Then, more importantly, this is what we have to do to help the parents of these kids. And I think it was really because of those students at that school that really made it easier for me to be able to do that.
And the mere fact that I love the story and that experience, because we both know that that is not always how it happens.
Absolutely not. Yeah,
There,
that's what I was terrified about.
there are so many, and just recently, um, there are young children who have been bullied so relentlessly that they, do things that are unmentionable. So the fact that this was a opportunity for you to go in, and as scared as you was to
Yeah.
talk to your daughter's peers, but what it is, it made them see with boo-boos, and I love the analogy of boo-boos, it made them see the common thread. They weren't worried about her hair loss. They
Yeah.
like, we got boo-boos.
Yeah.
And so your effort really made a difference. And as years went on, I just love how they took community is important. Community is what it's going to take, just like what we're doing now is building. That is what it's going to take to bring more awareness and to stop the stigma. And that's pretty much where my next question is going to come, because I appreciate the fact that you are an advocate, you're a founder of a great organization, but you are a parent. With all three of those hats that you have, we need to break the stigma of alopecia. And how do you think society can better support those like Maddie and others, millions of others, especially children, and breaking the stigma around hair loss?
Wow. You know, it sounds, very cliche, but education is probably the easiest way of going about that. You want to hit the kids. I think second graders, that's the sweet spot. If
Okay.
I if I could speak to second grade classes and just second grade classes, I really believe that there would be a difference. But when I say me, I mean if any organization wanted to make a difference in the perception of what their organization is promoting, I think second grade, that age group, those kids are still little kids,
Yeah.
but they're getting older and they start having that light bulb popping up over their head every once in a while, and
Yeah.
they're quizzical. They're just thinking about like, um, I never thought about that, but now that I'm thinking about it, it makes sense. I think that would probably be the best thing that we could do is just have every second grader learn about everything. I think every school should bring in every organization about alopecia, about juvenile diabetes, about Crohn's disease, about blindness, deaf, everything. And you should be educated on what is in the real world, what you're actually going to be encountering. And that, yeah, we're all different. Everyone is different. There's no one the same. Even people that you think are the same are different. And
Mhm.
I think once everybody understands that, then we don't have those levels like, well, this person should be here or that person should be down here. No, we're all here because we're all different.
Yeah.
When you start looking at it from that point of view, then there's no division. There's nothing to think negatively about because we're all just us. And if somebody doesn't like you because of who you are, that's not your problem. That's their problem. So just keep doing what you're doing and try and be better than you were the day before and just keep on being you and know that you're different.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important. I don't care if you're in second grade. You can be you can be 58 years old like me and you can learn new tricks. And I don't think that's a negative thing. I think that's really a positive thing. And there's a lot of craziness that has happened over the last 5 to 10 years. A lot of stuff that's politically
Unfortunate.
generated, things that are socially generated. But the one thing I will say that is a positive from all of that is that it has shone a light on so many things that are different that I think the younger generation is a lot more tolerable to things that are different than, let's say, I was back when I was in school,
Yeah.
because it was a little bit more politically correct to be able to call out some people, which was wrong.
Yeah.
But now it's not. And I think that's a good thing. No matter what the negatives are, it's a positive thing to know that there are differences. And as I think the challenge is like when you recognize there's differences, that now you have to all play in the sandbox nice with each other. We still are trying to learn how to do that. But I think everybody recognizes that there are differences, but we just have to learn to get along. And I think second grade, that's the key.
That's the sweet spot. That's the
I
sweet
think second grade is the key.
Viva la difference.
Yeah.
And Viva la difference. And I think you're right. I know in my generation, there were people that were different and you kind of, you didn't know. But I really do see the future being bright and with this generation and those to come. And like you said, even though simplicity, it's just all about education,
Yeah.
just talking and beginning conversations that need to be had. Now, you're big on community and what CAP does, and you can kind of elaborate a little bit more, but I kind of want to talk about, you talked about like the support groups and different things getting together. Would you kind of let us know what Alopecia Palooza is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Every year we have Alopecia Palooza, which is just a camp. And the camp, I never went to camp when I was a kid. So when we started having camps, back in 2006, I just loved it because it's like I never got to experience this when I was a kid. And I was with my family, and then we're having all these other new families. So, what we decided to do was to have a big camp every year. And it was something that started in 2009. And we've had it every year except for 2020 when we have COVID. But we average somewhere between 220 people and 500, and we have it in different states all over the country. And as a result of the success of that, we started having kid camps, and we've had up to 9 a year in different parts of the country. So that way, if you can't make it to Alopecia Palooza, then hopefully you live in an area where we're having a camp. We stopped having the camps in 2025 because we wanted to focus again on the cat kid groups. And we have over 50 of them, and we wanted the groups to get more active again because I think the community getting together in your local or regional area is is sometimes even more powerful than meeting other people from around the world or other parts of the country. So those are, in addition to speaking at schools, the camps and Alopecia Palooza are a big hit for the families. It really makes a difference. You can see kids coming in on day one, and when they leave, they're different kids.
Oh,
And it's not like we did anything special. We just put everyone together. We got some really smart speakers to talk about their alopecia and make it more normal. So that way the kids know that they are who they are. They're different, they're perfect, and that's okay.
yes, I love that. And what that has proven and what that has shown by your initiative. And thank goodness maybe you didn't experience camp because camp may not have been a good experience for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
You,
not going there.
yeah, I'm not doing this to my children. But what it did was not only bring community, but it support not only the child with alopecia, but it also brought together the families, the
Yes.
parents, the siblings, everyone together, and it's a common thread.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a beautiful experience. And now, if the 50 different chapters of CAP, is it one in each state? Is that what it is?
Uh, I don't think we have one in each state,
Okay,
but we have multiple ones in states. There are a few states that we don't have one in because there's only like 500,000 people in Wyoming, so we don't have any in Wyoming, but we have one in Colorado and in Nebraska.
close.
Um,
Okay.
Multiple ones in New York, Florida,
I
California.
hope Texas is represented there somewhere.
Texas, we have three in Texas.
Okay, great. Ooh, the Lone Star State. That's good.
Yes.
I have one question because we're talking about, and I'm so happy that as a parent and what you've done, talking about what you see for the future. What do you see as far as if we look ahead with the changes and advancements that are possibly in our ahead? What do you see advances? What do you think would benefit? What would you like to see when it comes to
Well,
show?
I really try and stay in my lane. And that's the first thing I want to preface. I want to stay in my lane. Obviously, I want a cure. I want all these kids not to have to worry about an alternative to what they're going through. I mean, I want the kids to have their hair. But I don't really think too much about treatments and cures. And the reason I don't is because if I start thinking about that stuff,
Mhm,
then I'm not thinking about the stuff that is today.
mhm,
Cures and treatments are tomorrow, in my opinion, and research is needed. funds for research are needed, and you have the national organization and you have other universities that are doing some good stuff.
Mhm.
And I encourage everyone to continue donating to those organizations. I choose not to think about that because all of those organizations, like the national organization and the colleges, they're already thinking about tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about tomorrow because tomorrow is not going to change a child's life today.
Day.
So I think about today, and I only want to make sure that the families understand what alopecia is, what we're trying to do. And the only thing that we're trying to do is to make sure that they understand that they are different and that that makes them normal. And it's hard to get a child or even their family members to understand that and to believe it. But it's true. It's when you take a step back and you look at it, it really is true. So let's concentrate on today. The the medications that they're developing today, I don't recommend them, but I also don't not recommend them. I just don't want to get hung up in it because I think that's for a family to make that decision. I don't think it's fair for me as an organization to make any recommendations for that. If the family does it, I'm all for the parent. The parents, I think every child should be parented, and I think the parents need to have the most education on all the other options that are out there. But I think, and I'm saying this biasly, and I guess a little selfishly, I think the first thing that every parent has to do is they have to first take ownership in what it is and concentrate on the alopecia today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the cures and the treatments. Let's take care of that child today. Then you can go ahead and open up that cabinet and pick whatever you want to go after in the future. And I think that's important. And I think once the families are at that point where they're like, okay, this stinks,
Yeah.
but there's a lot worse things in the world to deal with. We'll take care of today, and then we'll work on tomorrow, and then eventually we'll just go ahead and start concentrating on what we have to concentrate on.
I love the fact that you preface it with wanting to stay in your lane, and that is so
Yeah,
responsible of you. But I want to correct you, and I hope I'm not offending you. But although you don't want to get into the medicine, sir, you're in the medicine. You're dispensing hope, you're dispensing self-confidence, self-esteem, things that are generated that make people, I mean, that's the best medicine in the world. So
yeah,
you indeed are dispensing something that, yeah, we'll let the pharmaceutical companies and the big giants do what they do. But I will let you know, I'm sure you already do know, but what you are dispensing with community and bringing families together, sir, is the best medicine. As time would have it, we're running out. But Jeff, I know that there's going to be some people who want to know more about CAP and want to connect with you. Can you share your information, please?
yeah. The easiest thing to do is just go to the Children's Alopecia Project.org website. Um, all the contact information is there. The support groups from all over the country and world are listed there. And obviously, anything that we have coming up is there. Our Facebook page, you'll find the link there. And I think that's probably the best place to go to get updated information.
Well, again, thank you, Jeff, for joining me here today. And that's going to be all for this episode. And for everyone else, until next time, take care and be blessed. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.